What up? It's your boy Wall Street, and I'm back. And today I want to talk about a very serious topic because I feel like no one is really paying attention as much anymore since this story came out. And I know a lot of people aren't familiar with the story, so I want to, kind of bring it to the light. And I typically, I don't really want to make, this video about someone's personal life, but I feel like it has a lot to do with basketball. So I think it is appropriate to an extent. But I want to talk about Malik Beasley and just what's going on with him, because it's a wild situation. And if you guys have, heard about this situation, you probably know what I'm about to get into, but let me give you all a rundown, right? So let's take it from the top. Malik Beasley is a guy that basically just helped the Pistons have one of the best seasons that they've had in like a decade, right? Over a decade. And he is now at the center of a federal investigation that revolves around potential gambling and prop bets and his association to those, right? And if you guys remember, a little while back, Adam Silver banned Jonte Porter for, basically playing in a way that allowed him to make bets and win off of them. And I think they believe that Malik Beasley is doing something along those lines, right? But the story gets a little more wild, right? But Malik Beasley had an amazing season, 16.3 points per game, was, top 5 in three-point shooting percentage, I believe, and I think three-pointers made. I could be wrong about one of those, but he is a guy that has had, some trouble off the court. He's dealt with, a couple of different, criminal case issues over the course of his NBA career. And the part about this that makes it seem a little bit more realistic is the fact that they're also reporting all of these debts that he owes, right? So there was an article that came out in the Detroit News about 3 weeks ago, maybe a month ago. And it states, court records obtained by the Detroit News paint a picture of a turbulent personal life as Beasley experienced a career breakthrough with the Pistons last season, and while debts mounted from a celebrity barber, a dentist, a landlord, a lender, and a marketing firm. The court records and details about a years-long history of financial problems are emerging as FBI agents conduct an investigation involving Beasley that is focused on wire fraud, gambling, and prop bets. Beasley, who has signed NBA contracts worth more than $59 million during his career, has not been charged with wrongdoing, but the Pistons have pulled back on a 3-year, $42 million offer amid the investigation. According to a source familiar with the offer who requested, blah, blah, whatever, that doesn't matter. But so then they go on to say that Beasley was sued in April by Hazan Sports Management Group, a boutique New York-based agency, and the firm accused him of failing to repay a $650,000 cash advance. There's also another one that says Hazan Sports Management Group wants at least $2.25 million for an alleged breach of contract. There's another one that says that he owed rent in Detroit that was like $14,000 in rent. He owed another piece of rent that was like $7,500. He owed a barber $26,000. A dentist, he owed $35,000. Like, it's just insane, right? And obviously, we haven't heard from Malik Beasley. I'm sure he's got attorneys that are like, don't talk about this publicly. Lay low. And it's just insane. But I mean, the real consequence here is that he has all these debts, and the Pistons, after he just had an amazing season, were ready to give him $40 million. And now he might end up with nothing. And if he gets caught being a part of these gambling schemes, Adam Silver might ban him from the NBA for life, right? That's what happened to Jonte Porter. Adam Silver does not play this stuff. And most sports commissioners don't. I mean, I think NBA players can't even bet on other sports. Obviously they can't bet on their own sport because they have a role that they're playing, and if they are in on the bet, they're going to try to skew the results in a way that favors them, and they can win some money. So it affects the authenticity and the genuine nature of the NBA. So Beasley might really land himself in quite a pickle, right? Because one thing here is that obviously the NBA is the best basketball league in the entire world, right? That's where you're going to make the most money as a basketball player, hands down. Doesn't even matter. And theoretically, if he gets banned from the NBA, he can go overseas, right? But how many teams overseas are going to want to get into business with a guy that owes everybody money and is not playing the game authentically because he's trying to skew it for gambling results, right? And again, I don't want to say that he's guilty of any of this. This is all stuff that's come out in the media. I don't like painting a picture that someone's guilty of something until it's proven, but all of these allegations don't sound good. So honestly, I don't know what's going to happen to Malik Beasley. I think if, this whole situation of the gambling gets put to rest and he's not actually guilty of that, then we'll see what happens. He has a chance to stick around the NBA. He'll definitely get a deal somewhere, right? But I think teams are going to be weary, and he's not going to get nearly as much money as he was going to get initially, right? Because it doesn't matter if you get proven innocent after all this, but you have all these allegations. I think a lot of NBA front offices are still stubborn, and they're just going to think that, that bad press is something they don't want, and they're either going to really lowball you and get you on a discount, or they're just not going to offer you anything at all. So I don't know what's going to happen, but these gambling cases keep rising, right? Like, I think Terry Rozier was under investigation too, but he wasn't told that he couldn't play or anything. And I haven't heard much about that, so I don't know if they have, proven him innocent or guilty yet. I don't know, but I think a lot of it has to do is you watch an NBA game, and half the commercials are for FanDuel or DraftKings. It's all about betting, right? ESPN has a betting segment now, right? So gambling has become so ingrained in sports that, to me, it's not even that surprising that these professional athletes that probably idolize other professional athletes until they get into the league get into sports betting, right? Especially when they're in the league, right? They know it's wrong. They know they shouldn't be doing it. But a lot of these guys think that they're slick and they're not going to get caught, right? I'm sure there's more people out there in the league that are doing it right now and haven't gotten caught yet, right? They're just doing it at a smaller scale, right? I think with Jonte Porter, it was an $80,000 bet placed on his under or his over or whatever, and everyone was looking at it because they're no one really even knows who Jonte Porter is at this point in time. He's a two-way player on the Toronto Raptors. No one's putting $80,000 on a bet like that unless you're a trillionaire, right? And even then, you're still probably why would I do that? So it's just, I think there's other people out there that are probably doing it, that are doing it a little bit more silently, right? Placing, an $1,000 bet, placing a $2,000 bet, right? And Malik Beasley is a little bit different. Malik Beasley is a more popular player. He was, high up in the Sixth Man of the Year voting, right? Jonte Porter was a two-way player, and I think the NBA instituted a rule, or maybe it was one of the sports books, or one of the apps that you can gamble on. They also added a rule where I don't think you can even place bets on two-way players anymore. So, they're trying to make it a little bit more secure, but at the end of the day, man, you're never really going to stop all of this, especially with all the influence in your face all the time as a sports fan. I mean, I watch so much basketball during the season. I'm probably seeing, betting ads and gambling ads for sports multiple times every single day, right? So, there's a lot of people out there that are oh, I can make some money, especially with all the deals they try and give you. They're oh, you'll get $100 in, if you make $100 in bets, right? We'll give you an extra $100 to play with. And that can draw a lot of people in, right? And I think gambling's okay as long as you do it safely and responsibly. But at the end of the day, like, if you're a basketball player, you shouldn't be, a professional basketball player or a professional football player, or any pro athlete. You should not be risking your career on some quick money, right? Like, invest in someone's business, or invest in crypto or something. Like, this is not financial advice by any means, but like, there's other things you can do that are legal that won't get you in trouble and cost you your main source of money, which is your athletic career. So that's all I got, guys. I want to know your thoughts on the Malik Beasley situation. What do you think is going to come of this? What do you think we're going to be saying 3 months from now about Malik Beasley? I want to know your thoughts. So please leave some comments down below. Let me know what it is and what's up. And I'm going to catch you guys later, man. Stay up, stay blessed, stay safe, stay humble, handle business, stand on business. Peace out.